Ooh, let's go, Commanders fans, and happy Friday. Just feels so weird not having a preview video on a Friday or just looking forward to another game. We had a heck of a season. So definitely not gonna say we were spoiled, but this is a long time coming. We deserve the season that we definitely had, but it does feel weird a Friday with no football at all for the Commanders. It really does. And a Sunday coming up with no football at all for the Commanders. So it's definitely going to feel weird, guys. It's definitely going to feel weird. So I'm definitely going to be pushing out these videos. There probably will be some short, quick videos since it's the off season, like 5-minute quick hitters, stuff like that. So just be prepared for that. Today, I just want to talk about some free agent defensive edge rushers that we may have interest in that I just feel like we may go after. And then just talk about some of the coaching updates because a lot of our guys are getting interviews. When you have a good season, that's when guys get interviews. And front office guys, that's when teams, try to poach guys off of our team because we've been so good. It's been the other way around where we've been trying to get other teams coaches and other teams front office guys and stuff like that. So it's definitely cool to see it change. First is David Blau or David Blow. I think we talked about this the other day. This was on January 29th that the Jets requested to interview him for their quarterbacks coach job. I think they already signed somebody. But that I think that just tells you, that he's done such a great job. So Mark Garofolo came up with this news. He says David Blow or Blau, 29, is garnering attention only 1 year into his coaching career. So it's really, really good news. And people say nothing but good things about him. I mean, Jaden Daniels had a great year. And, him, Tavita Pritchard, Brian Johnson, I think it was all a collective effort. Cliff Kingsbury involved as well. They did a great job with the quarterback's room, and then having a backup of Marcus Mariota come in and play well too when he had to come in and against the Panthers, against the Cowboys. So the quarterback staff, the quarterback's coaching staff, the offensive coordinator, everybody I think definitely deserved a good credit in that. Tavita Pritchard, people have raved about him for the last 2 years that he's been here. He completed an interview with the Jacksonville Jaguars. That was on the 29th, which was Wednesday. So for him to get a legitimate offensive coordinator interview is big news. That would be awesome if he gets it. And it just shows that we're in good hands. So if somebody leaves, that we still have guys that are here to step up and take on other positions. Or I think Dan Quinn and and staff will do a good job of finding a replacement if Tavita Pritchard does leave, or if David Blow does leave. Same thing with Brian Johnson. Brian Johnson got an interview from the Texans. He's going to be interviewing today for their offensive coordinator job. So it just speaks volume of a successful season that we had, that guys are getting interviewed. Joey Jr. got an interview with the Jets. I know the Jets basically interviewed everybody. They even interviewed Mike Locksley, the head coach for the Maryland Terrapins football team. But some of these guys may be leaving. We'll see. We'll see if Brian Johnson does get the job. We'll see in the next couple days or weeks. But I feel like we definitely have guys that can step up and move into different roles and different positions. Brian Johnson also has the title of assistant head coach. I did see that in his title. I forgot that he had that title, but he was the offensive coordinator with the Eagles as well. Kind of had an up and down season with the Eagles that year. They did win a bunch of games, and then they went on that losing streak in the second half of the year. But their defense was awful last year. So some of it wasn't all Brian Johnson's fault, of course, with some of the offensive things that went wrong. But I thought he did a good job with the Eagles for the most part, and he's done a good job here. People are raving about him, and other teams are hearing about it. So we'll see if he gets the job. We'll see if Tavita gets the job. So I'm always happy to see other guys get jobs. Lance Newmark is going to be staying here, who is our assistant GM or something like that in the front office. So that's the good news that he's going to be staying this year. So hopefully he gets a job somewhere else because we already know Adam Peters is going to be the GM for years and years and years to come. So definitely want to see guys spread their wings and get higher jobs elsewhere for sure. So I love seeing that for our guys. So let's get into the edge rusher position here. Also, the jerseys might be tweaked. There's supposed to be an alternate uniform coming out or something like that. I think Bram Weinstein said that on his podcast. So that's pretty cool, man. Or they're going to be tweaking their uniforms per Bram Weinstein on his podcast, who works for the Commanders. He does play-by-play with London Fletcher. So, he's definitely not pump faking. He's definitely telling the truth. So I'm intrigued to see what they do. Do they add a feather to the W on their alternate, tweaking their uniforms here and there? Is there another alternate or different color or whatever they're going to do? Like, what are they going to do? And the jersey is going to fly off the shelves for sure because Jaden Daniels has the top-selling jersey in the NFL per a couple of sites and whatnot. So, all right, let's get to edge rusher. So there's not many guys here, guys, in free agency. I know the draft, you got Mike Green out of Marshall. You got the Texas A&M edge rusher. I can't remember his name. I think his last name is like Stewart or something like that. So I do think we're going to draft an edge rusher. We have to get an edge rusher. We have to upgrade the position because we just could not slow down the run game. And some of that is setting the edge. I do like Dante. I would definitely bring Dante back. Cleveland Farrell, questionable. If he walks, I'm fine with it. We got Dorrance under contract. Jalen Holmes is a backup. So we definitely need more pop from the edge rusher spot for sure. But I love what Dante did. Now, the top of the list is Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack, man, he is 33 years old. I get it. So he's on the older side. I know people want to trade for Max Crosby. We're just strictly talking about free agents. How realistic is to get somebody like Max Crosby? How realistic is it to trade for somebody like Myles Garrett? I think the chances are slim for Myles Garrett, but I think there's a higher chance to get Max Crosby, but I'm not really banking on that. So if you look at the free agency market here, so Spotrac has $23 million per year, and some people have like $11 million per year for Khalil Mack. I think that's pretty realistic. Like $10 million per year. He's at $19 million per year right now. But to pay somebody 34 years old, somebody who's 34 years old, $22 million per year is pretty crazy. And he had a solid season, man. He had a good year. So he had 6 sacks last year. He had 17 sacks in 2023, which is pretty insane. He was All-Pro, made the Pro Bowl this year. But the biggest thing that I like about Khalil Mack, the biggest reason why I'm intrigued on bringing him in, is because he did a really good job against the run. He had an 88.0 run defense grade, which was second among all edge rushers per PFF. 79.9 pass rush grade, which was 16th, and a 90.4 overall PFF grade, which was 5th out of 211 pass rushers. Had 7 sacks on the season, 3 assists, 2 forced fumbles. We need guys that can force fumbles, and where ball is life. And he was durable for the most part. He did have a groin injury, but he played in 16 out of 17 games, which was pretty good. They did make the playoffs at all. They got belted, in the first round. And he had a fumble recovery too. So I think he would really help out this roster. He would be able to set the edge and really help us with slowing down the run game, man. Like, that's something we really have to focus on for sure. And I feel like Khalil can definitely do that. He had a pass rush win rate of 26.2% over the last 3 games of the season, which was the second highest mark in the league. So he still can get to the quarterback. He went from 6th in pass rushing productivity among edge rushers in 2023 to 25th this year, which is not bad. To be 25 out of 100-something edge rushers is not bad. He also gets double teamed and chipped a lot, and he still wins against double teams. He was double teamed 14.93%, which was 9th among all edge rushers in the 2024 season. Like I said, that 90.4 PFF grade, which is pretty darn good. Like, I know PFF's not the gospel, but still, like, he had a darn good season. He really did. He had a darn good season. So I would love to have Khalil. I'm not gonna say love, but I would like to sign him to like a 1-year deal, 2-year deal, or something like that. I think that would be really good for him to come in and slow down the run game and be a veteran presence. On the team as well. So second for me is Josh Sweat for the Eagles. And, like I said, this list is not great. I mean, he's a solid edge rusher, but, he's had production over the years for sure. And I think he can come in. He always does a good job against us. That's one thing I will say. He always does a good job against us for whatever reason. He comes in and plays well. So let me pull up the numbers for Josh Sweat over the years. He had 8 sacks last year. And there are some games where he can be a little non-existent, but he had 11 sacks in 2022, 6.5 sacks in 2023, and 8 sacks this past season in 2024. 41 tackles overall. And, he was a part of a good Eagles defense that really slowed down the run game. So I think Josh Sweat would be a solid addition. He had 54 pressures, which was 21st out of 211 edge rushers, 75.7 PFF grade as well. 69.3 run defense grade, which was 48th out of 211 edge rushers. Like I said, 8 sacks, 7 assists, 71.5 pass rush grade. So Josh Sweat is a guy that I really think that we should definitely consider. I don't think you have to break the bank for him. How old is he? 27 years old, 6'5", 265 pounds. He did have a sack against us in the first game of the season on Thursday Night Football. So honestly, I think he would be a guy that, you make your division rival weaker. I would like to get Zach Bond, too, on a 1-year deal. So you make the Eagles a weaker team by getting Josh Sweat. I think that would be a big help for the Commanders for sure. Another guy is Azeez Ojulari from the Giants. Now, he had a solid year this year, but if you look at the pressures, he didn't get a lot of pressures. And that's the thing. So a lot of the sacks are, were kind of where he was kind of not – there wasn't much resistance Like, he just kind of flew in there and got sacks. He only had 22 pressures on the season, so that is concerning. He has 56.4 PFF grade. He has 7 sacks on the year, but I've always liked Azeez. And it's kind of like when you watch guys play against us. He usually has a good game against us for whatever reason. He has a good solid game against us. 60.1 run defense grade, so he does a solid job of slowing down the run game too. And he's coming off a rookie deal too. 6'3", 240 pounds, 24 years old. So he's starting to hit his prime as well. So I think Azeez coming in as a rotational pass rusher, I think he would help this team out. So Azeez Ojulari is a guy that I like coming from the Giants. Hassan Reddick, I would say no because of the whole stuff last year. He sat out. Matt Judon, I do like him, but he's 32 years old, so I would say no on him. And then, of course, you got to think about Chase Young. I know a lot of people have been asking me about Chase Young. Like in the Commanders King stream, somebody put a super chat and asked about Chase Young. Now, Chase Young, I say no because I'm not going to say character issues, but we've seen his work ethic in the past. And I don't think it's a terrible work ethic, but just some of the stuff, the priorities, like going to Family Feud instead of doing OTAs. Like he definitely could have did both. Is he more concerned about doing a New Balance commercial or playing well on the field? We've seen snaps where he's done an Albert Haynesworth moment where he's laid down on the floor. Adam Peters was with him with the Niners, and they were ready to give up on him already. They did not bring him back. They were disappointed. There was rumors saying that they were disappointed with his work ethic and whatnot, his motor on the field and whatnot. So we've seen that, been there, done that with him and the whole OTAs thing. But I'm not going to lie, like he didn't have a good season last year. He played well against us in that one game. He had 2 sacks. He is solid slowing down the run game. He had a forced fumble. He also had 12 quarterback hits in the season. He had 8 tackles for loss, 47 quarterback hurries as well, had 5.5 sacks, 31 tackles. He is the king of getting to the quarterback but not finishing plays. John Allen does it a lot. Deron Payne does it a lot. Really, John Allen for the most part. But Chase Young is the king of getting to the quarterback and not finishing plays. That is his MO. That is his forte. So I do say no. He had 66 pressures this year, which was 7th out of 211 edge rushers. So he had a good season. I'm just happy for him in general. He is Jadeveon Clowney. He's like the lesser version of Jadeveon Clowney. I'm not gonna say a poor man, but like a common man's version of Jadeveon Clowney, where he's gonna be on 1-year deals for the rest of his career. He may get a 2-year or 3-year deal, but he's on trajectory to be on a 1-year deal for like every season. He's 25 years old, 6'5", 264 pounds, former number 2 pick. Very disappointing. I'm not gonna call him a bust, but he kind of has been a bust for what he was projected to be. But a 1-year deal on Chase Young, I mean, he does set the edge and whatnot, but for our culture and what we're looking for, basically going to pass on Chase Young. And I don't think he's going to command a lot of money, but I would pass on Chase Young. So Josh Sweat is somebody I'm looking at. Azeez Ojulari is somebody I'm looking at for sure, too. That's one guy I'm looking at for sure. Carl Lawson from Dallas is somebody to take a look at. He's not great, but you understand the connection with Dan Quinn and former Cowboys, 6'2", 260 pounds. He had 5 sacks last year. He had a season where he had 7 sacks, 8.5 sacks his rookie season. So he would be another rotational pass rusher. But for him, it's like you might as well just keep Dante Fowler and just keep what you got. So there's a lot of lateral moves out there. DeMarcus Lawrence is a guy who really slows down the run game, where I would not be surprised if DQ wanted to bring him in on a 1-year deal. He's really good at stopping the run. He's probably one of the best run stoppers in the NFL over the last couple of years. Hasn't got a lot of sacks, hasn't got a lot of pressures. But, per PFF, Lawrence is ranked in the top 10 among defensive ends for run stop percentage in 5 of the last 6 seasons. In the 2023 season, he was 12.4%, which was first among edge rushers. So, I mean, he does a good job of slowing down the run game. That's the only reason why I would even consider him on a 1-year veteran deal, coming off an injury, off a Lisfranc injury. I think DeMarcus Lawrence would not be a bad pickup, bringing him in on a 1-year deal just to slow down the run game. But can he be reliable? Can he stay healthy? For the most part, is the big thing. Malcolm Kuntz, who was on the Raiders, he had 8 sacks. I think he had 8 sacks. So looking at the numbers, he had 8 sacks in 2023, but he missed the whole 2024 season. So that's the only concerning thing. But as a pass rusher, he's somebody to consider as well. Like I said, Matt Judon, I would pass on him. Hassan Reddick, I would pass on him. And that's really it, guys. That's really it for the most part. If there's anybody else, Joe Tryon is decent. He's solid. Joseph Asai has been disappointing. Abdul Carter has been up and down. Derek Barnett, the former Eagle on the Texans, has had a disappointing career so far. But if we bring him in on a cheap deal, So for the most part, there's really just not much out there, guys. There's just really like Cleveland Farrell. Like I said, he's a free agent on our team. Would you bring him back or not? He's not really a game changer or anything like that. So really, the edge rusher spot, there's just not much there, guys. There's really not. So you're really gonna have to look at the draft for the most part. But I think they should still sign an edge rusher for sure. And honestly, Khalil Mack is a guy that I really think they should make a run after. I don't think you have to break the bank for him. And I think a 1-year deal for Khalil Mack definitely would be a solid deal for sure. So as always, you guys let me know what you guys think. Hopefully, you guys enjoy your weekend. If there's any suggestions any edge rushers that you want to pick up through free agency that you feel that are worthy of it, definitely comment below. Anybody in the draft as well, definitely comment. Like I said, Mike Green, the guy from Texas A&M. There's a couple good edge rushers out there for sure that we can get around pick 29. If you want to go edge rusher in the first round, there's some guys in the second round, third round, and stuff like that that we could definitely go after for sure. As always, guys, left hand up. Hail Commanders. Peace.